Sometimes it can be really helpful to get just a quick snapshot of a board game. Today's game, Dice Manor from Arcane Wonders, is our feature on Legendary Tactics. So we finished playing this. I've played this one a couple of times, three times now.
Yeah.
You guys have played a couple times each.
Yeah.
So we give you a quick snapshot. Why don't we begin talking about the mechanisms first? Nato,
Sure.
you're a resident mechanism expert.
Okay.
Tell us what the system is.
Well, it's a dice. I don't know what's the mechanism where you're playing
Dice allocation.
Dice allocation.
It's a dice chucker.
There's a name for that.
Dice chucker, but
it's dice placement.
Yeah, something like that. Where you're rolling dice and you're allocating them. So it doesn't matter. You could roll all ones and you could still find something to do with them or whatever. It's that type of mechanic. It's definitely inspired by Castles of Mad King.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yes,
very, very
building
similar.
out your most beautiful manor.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, that's kind of what I would have to say about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really,
And we have to mention the auction mechanic.
Yeah, the bidding as well.
That's bidding on.
That's a big part of the game.
It's deciding when to use your dice, and because you have to use all of the same number at the same time, there's some strategy there.
Yes, for sure.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, Cax, you are a resident expert in theme. So tell me, did it feel like you were really building a house? Did it feel like you were advertising?
I'd say Castles of Burgundy gives you more of that building feel than this one. This one's just more of a puzzly kind of game. I would say that's my opinion on it. And definitely the simplified version. Mad King has the different you have secret agendas that you're trying to
This one's more family friendly.
Absolutely,
it is. Yes, I played this with my kids, and they enjoyed the game and they wanted to play it again.
Yes.
So it was fun that way.
Yeah.
However, I will say, actually, we'll save that for the comparisons to other games. So
okay.
And I'll comment on the components and aesthetics. You can see for yourself what it looks like. Personally, I prefer dice with the pips on it because with this one you get the 6s and they look like 9s. And it's just a minor gripe, but it looks a little less classy to me. But it's nice that it does come with 4 sets of dice, so you're set that way. The components here, I mean,
I actually really like the scoring boards.
I
think that's a very clever.
I think the recessed, instead of them skittering around, you really need.
They sit in there nicely and they don't move, and that's a really
having that depth is
extra
important.
little class.
Over here, that doesn't matter too much.
No.
I like what we did where when you had claimed it, you were on top, but then when you got bumped, you're
down below.
Yes.
That wasn't in the rule book, but we did that on our own. The tiles, I mean, they're just
fine.
Standard cardboard. There's nothing. There's no like
they're
special
good quality
finish or anything.
They're good quality.
Solid.
They actually are a little more than
The artwork is okay, but it's a little bit cluttered. You can't really see. I don't even know what type of room that is.
That's right.
But
for sure,
it's supposed to be fun. It's just supposed to be a fun game.
You're not going to be focusing on that room.
You've already mentioned Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
Yes.
Another game from Pandasaurus that I played is Emerge, and that's one where you roll a ton of dice, you line them up, and then you spend those with powers. For me, I actually prefer that game. But if you're a person who loves assigning dice values and just playing with dice, but being able to mitigate that because we've got these
plus
tokens,
minuses,
so
rerolls,
you can adjust them.
Yeah,
so I would say this game is similar to Emerge, similar to Mad King Ludwig. Anything else that it reminds you of, Cax?
Yahtzee.
It's got a dice rolling feel.
A little bit.
Really? It actually does. Well, you're rolling a mitt full of dice. So actually, you're not wrong, Nato.
And you're trying to line them up into 4 of a kind or
3 of a kind, 2 of a kind, up and down.
That's kind of a joke.
Why don't we end with the upside down side? So either give it a positive or give it a negative. We like to give a balanced review or a balanced preview anyway. So any downsides that you'd like to comment on?
For me, I didn't love the very last part of the game. I actually enjoyed rounds 1 through 4, and then that 5th round for me where you're placing and you're doing these tours, I just found it actually a little convoluted and confusing, and I actually even needed Nato, you just to give me a quick hand on how we're going to navigate this house the best.
Score.
And you can check our playthrough out if you want to see Cax failing in comp.
Like working, exactly.
With a big 51 point.
Oh, brutal. well.
Yeah,
but
we're both like, hey Nate, I want to just give
is this
here.
correct? Yeah. So I mean, I feel like that could have been cleaned up a little bit, maybe a little more clear in how you actually score that ending bit.
Yeah, I totally get that. For some reason, when I read the rules and saw it, I'm like, oh, I get it. I saw exactly what they were trying to do. But yeah, I could see why it might be a little bit confusing, or it could be misplayed by players.
Yes,
like I totally
just watch that last fifth round scoring.
Yeah.
But besides that, for me, it is what it is. It's a fun little game.
Now, when I play with you, I play by the real rules because this guy enforces
Absolutely.
it. When I play with my kids, I play by the rules that are the most fun. And so for us, we were much more flexible, and I actually enjoyed it more when we did a tour. If you had 6 dice in a row, that was one awesome tour that you could do, and it scored a ton of points, and the kids loved it, racking up the points. With us, it was like, well, you can do a little tour this way and a little tour that way, and that's how it's supposed to be played, but it wasn't as satisfying for me.
That's true.
So that would be my downside. I just don't like the limitations of the scoring method.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, those are things you can house rule if you
can
do it differently. You know all about that.
House rules is what I do.
Let's end with one final upside. Who would this game be for, or why might people like it?
It's a nice light game to finish off the night or to start the night, and I think if you like Castles Mad King Ludwig, for example, I think this could appeal. If you just like those dice assignment games as well, I think this is a nice fun version of that kind of thing.
And I think this game is really manageable for younger kids too. This is totally a younger, kid-friendly game where you could play with your younger crew and they'd have a fun time with it.
Sometimes kids just like building things and being like, look at how cool, and they don't care about the points. They just want to build a manor. And I think for that reason it works.
I think it works really well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you enjoy the video, enjoy this kind of content, like it, subscribe. It really helps us out. Now get out there.
Get gaming.
And be legendary.